Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Hello and welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, I am joined by innovative entrepreneur Stud the Kid. Stud helps artists expand their brands. She has embraced the music and creative industry, and her intellect will help you if you're an artist, and it will command the attention of anybody who is aspiring to be an artist. So we're going to be talking to her about why she got started and everything that she is doing to help people in the music and creative industry. Stud, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Curtis, for having me. I'm super, super excited to be a part of what you got going on here.
Well, why don't you start off by telling everybody about yourself, giving us a little background?
Yes. So I am Stud the Kid. I was born in Austin, Texas. When I got married to my wife, I moved to San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio, Texas has been my home literally since about 19 years old. So funny enough, I've been in San Antonio since 19. I'm 29 now. So it's basically like my second home. Started off dabbling in businesses, owned a record label for many years now, put it on pause, started it back up, and decided to reinvent every idea I ever started and turning it into this amazing new platform for artists, which has since taken off. So that's pretty much about myself, besides, some of the things that people will read about me. So I have autism, high functioning autism. I have, other disabilities. I grew up in foster care. So some of those things as well.
Okay, well, my son has autism as well. He's high functioning also.
Oh, wow. Okay, definitely. Yeah, autism has been one of those things that a lot of people have touched on with me, because it's been like, I'm one of those, even in speaking engagements or performing, everything has to kind of be broken down, or I've been asked a lot of questions about, how I'm able to do this with that kind of disability. But for me, as much as it's a disability, it also gives us a lot of abilities, so we can do certain things are heightened because of that.
Most definitely. Well, let's talk about what all that you have been through in your life. What made you get into the music and creative space and help other people out?
Honestly, it's been a combination of struggles, and I've always been pretty talented in music and just formulating different business ideas. I started off creating Straight Defined Community, which is where I took, different parts of life and people who were low income, including myself at that time, taking all those objectives, slamming them into one community, and kind of got the ball rolling and realized I wanted to take this idea, but I wanted to throw it in something I was actually good at, and so that was entertainment. So I said, what if I take the same type of community feeling and slammed it into an entertainment focus? And that's how I built Exposure Explosion Festival. With building Exposure Explosion Festival, which is the main meat of everything I do, I was able to create, jobs, housing, all types of services for artists, brands, record labels, and just do so many things that most can't do. And then for myself, it's just living in those circumstances that allowed me to be able to do this. So I've been without a house before. I've been without a car. I've been without, medical, dental, vision. I've been without support. I've been without a marketing team. And I just needed one hub that could do multiple things. So basically creating my own Social Security Administration or Health and Human Services, but strictly for entertainment.
Well, tell us about that Explosion Fest. What is it, and when does it take place, and where is it at? And Just kind of tell us about it.
Okay, so Exposure Explosion Festival, it changes every month. So I laugh about this because it grows literally. So right now we have 24/7 live interviews. So the first thing we created was a platform that allows artists to market themselves by giving information to people to grow emotional connection. So most people don't know that in this line of work, you have to have an emotional connection to your fans. Fans are emotional creatures. They want to know what you feel, what you've been through, what connects them to you. How did you make it? So we built the podcast interview type setting. So we use a podcast service. We really don't like to call it a podcast. We just call it live interviews where artists talk about who they are, what they've been through, their ages, etc. So that's the first one, and that's free. And then the second piece of that would be our EE, basically called Exposure Explosion Festival Live, which is where they are performing live concerts at their own time and schedule. Typically, that's also free for artists to sign up for as well. The consumer would get to watch it via Roku, via TV, via an app as well. So that's coming up, I would say, in another 30 days. So we're looking at probably a December jump off for that. Right now, we've been focusing on the interview side and just recruiting and making sure everything's ready. And then we have, of course, our third plan, which is the actual tour side. So we have tours every single year. And it starts in June, and I think it's actually June or July, and it ends in August. And it's just nonstop tours, nonstop for artists. We rent out major venues that artists typically can't get on by themselves, who aren't known yet. So we try to rent out stadiums and all of that. And we just slam an ultimate festival designed around these artists. And again, also free for artists to jump on. It's more about signing up and knowing where to go. We also create, basically, I like to call it social security card for artists, which those social security cards, aka security numbers, allow them to be able to access dental, vision, daycare, healthcare, other social services artists may need, as well as housing, jobs, and just all those different types. Food banks specifically for artists, just so much. So we kind of have a lot going on there.
Man, you really doing it big.
We are trying to. We are definitely trying to.
So talk about, you said you own the record label. Tell us about that. And did you work with any big artists, and what kind of acts did you work with? What kind of music you do on your record label? What's the name of it?
So I basically reinvented TAMA Industries record label. So that's also based out of San Antonio, Texas. We revamped it, and we basically changed it to where it focuses on artist development and marketing. So with our record label, it's designed like a boot camp. So artists would come to us. They typically sign anywhere from a 6-month to a 2-year contract. That contract allows us to build, develop, scale, trademark, all different types, everything an artist needs. Get them stable in their personal life. That's what we focus on first. And then we also start focusing on their career, because if your personal life ain't stable, your career isn't going to be stable. That's just facts. So we try to focus on both of those so that artists can move. And then at that point, we start focusing on the branding development side once we start branding and developing. So basically, right now, we have a lot of artists that we're developing. We typically don't, once an artist is branded and ready for that major jump, I call it the mainstream, we typically don't keep them at that point, because we focus strictly on building and developing artists. So we've worked with quite a bit, though. So right now, I do have an artist I'm helping out personally who happens to also be signed to our record label. His name is Mellow Young. So he's a talented artist, very, very talented. And so he's an R&B singer. So he's someone, we've got a couple of deals in place with a couple of TV shows, so that most people would know that we're actually working on. I can't say too much about it yet, but we definitely are working on helping them. So you guys will hear more about that and how TAMA Industries is going to help brand artists with some major artists as well and some major labels.
So what kind of music do you guys do? Is it just R&B, or what kind of genres do you do?
So we literally focus on all. So we have some of our people are focused on rock, some are focused on dub, some are focused on strictly producers. So we literally work with all. We have rap, hip hop, Christian, just all genres.
Wow. So if there are any artists or creators out there who like what you're doing and they want to check you out, because I know a few independent musicians and stuff like that. So how do they do that? Is that possible? And if so, what steps would they need to take to do so?
Perfect question. So funny enough that you say that, we actually are so right now, Exposure Explosion is the motherboard for everything. So I like to tell artists to first contact DRH Consulting. So you can find that on Google. That has our direct back companies email address as well as phone number. They can do that. So they can contact us. They can email us. They can even email Exposure Explosion Festival, and they can say, hey, look, I'm interested in services. At which point we set up a time to talk to you via a phone call, face to face, whatever is comfortable for the artist. And then literally from there, we just start showing you all of our services. So we give you a packet and it's super huge, and you just see all the services that you want to get. And then we also have, of course, studthekid.com, which actually that website will be ready by no later than Friday of this week, funny enough, because the team had to make some adjustments, but no later than Friday. But again, they can hit us up either using our consulting firm, which is I call it the HR of the company. So DRH Consulting, they can pop that on up, which they will also see myself on there. They can also use Exposure Explosion. I mean, there's so many ways an artist can contact us. And then we will even have an app which says contact Exposure Explosion, Stud the Kid, or TAMA Industries. And literally they can just text us back and forth and our team will respond. And that's an app that should be ready this week as well.
And listeners, I'll get that in the show notes for you guys who are interested. So I know that you said you were announcing some services and you said that they were free. So how do you guys survive? I know you were talking about Social Security cards for dental and health and all this stuff. How do you guys survive if so much of the stuff is free? How are you able to do that?
Great question. So performing is free. A lot of the services cost, but they're affordable for artists. So I like to remind people that we do not believe artists should have to pay to play. So performing is free, accessing services do cost. So I just want to be very black and white. So we do make our money obviously from the back end, making sure, packages. So we do have artist packages as well, but again, all super affordable.
Well, what's some things that you're working on right now that you can talk about that people need to know about and can expect from Stud the Kid?
Perfect question. So, so one thing that I have jumping off right now, so I am the host for everything that Exposure Explosion Festival has to offer. So I'm working on that. We are creating a modeling agency. So if you're a model, we could use you. We're always needing that. I am also working on basically kind of like an entire school right now. So one thing I've ran into with some artists that I've been talking to, they need school for their kids. They're also trying to go to college. So funny enough, Exposure Explosion Festival is opening up a school and a college. So we're working on that as we speak. So it's a private school. So the great news is once you are signed up for services with us, you don't have to pay for the school. So just literally working on more stability for personal life for our artists, accessing where artists can buy cars through us as well, renting cars, getting those transportation services, working on a whole transportation system. It's just a whole bunch. But hopefully all tools that, all artists could use, need, and just feel like Exposure Explosion is really helping them.
Well, go ahead and throw out that full contact information. I know you kind of sprinkled it around, but give out websites, how people contact social media. That way people can stay connected with you. And if they want to check you out, they can.
Yes. So again, you guys can contact us through info at exposureexplosionfestival.com. Again, that information is info at exposureexplosionfestival.com. You can find us on any and all social media platforms, typing in Exposure Explosion Festival or Stud the Kid. We can be found all those directions. If you want any services, you can email us. Our number pops up on Google for all of the companies, including DRH Consulting. We are open every single day, 2:00 p.m. to midnight. So if you're around, we work around your hours. If you need to schedule an appointment, we're here too. We will have an app available for download. So it's going to say contact Exposure Explosion. Download that. You can text our team directly, nonstop, all that you need, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and our team will get back to you immediately.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, I'll put that DRH Consulting and the websites and stuff in the show notes so you can be able to access it. Please be sure to follow, rate, review, share this episode, especially to the creators out there and artists. And Android listeners, go to the Google Play Store and download the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast app. Stud the Kid, why don't you close us out with some final thoughts?
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for just being a part. Follow this podcast. Curtis Destined is amazing. So please, please, please subscribe and like everything. I'm Stud the Kid. You can follow me via all social medias. Thank you so much for being a part.
Thank you for being a part. You are amazing. And I definitely hope that you can continue to, like you say, expand your business blueprint and continue to help artists expand their brand. Thank you so much for joining me today, Stud the Kid.
Thank you.
For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.